Okay, hi everyone. Welcome. Wow, episode 9 of Z1 Concept Roundtable Discussions. Here we are. Who would have thought we'd get to 9 episodes? But we're very, very excited. Well, great panel, ready to share their views. And I'll tell you, this is going to be quite an interesting topic. It's very, very on point, and we are ready and raring to go. So without any further ado, better introduce myself, Brian Grieve, Director of Education for Z1 Concept North America. And it gives me great pleasure to bring in my great colleague and partner and good all-round dude. So let's give up for Gerard Caruso. Hey, Gerard.
How you doing, Brian?
Hey, hanging in there.
Episode 9.
9,
imagine? I think 10 is going to be the golden number, but we're going to keep growing with these. I think it's really great when we talked about creating these Zoom roundtable discussions. It gives an outlet for stylists, salon owners, distributors. I know I say that all the time when we talk about it, but it gives everybody an outlet to discuss probably non-discussable topics, and probably topics that people don't want to talk about. So without further ado, let me introduce myself. Again, my name is Gerard Caruso. I'm the creative director for Z1 Concept USA. Have a salon also in Hackensack, New Jersey that I have a great staff that runs for me so I can do my Z1 Concept things. But I think, like you said, Brian, we have a really eloquent panel here today. Some people that are very known in the industry that people totally respect. And I'd like everybody to get an opportunity to introduce themselves. I'm going to pass it down to somebody that I've always looked up to in the industry. We became very good friends and colleagues. She's a dynamic speaker, and she speaks straight from the heart, and that's Miss Sandra Yu.
Hey, Gerard, Brian, everyone. It's great to be here. You know, I'm honored to be invited to join this Zoom discussion. Me, myself, I've been a hairdresser for about 40 years, so it's kind of scary to tell people that number.
Yeah, but you started when you were 4.
I know. But I've been a salon owner, I work with manufacturers, and but now I'm working back in the salon, you know, happy, servicing my clients, and still very in touch with the industry.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to say one thing about Sandra, Brian, because she's being a little humble, but Sandra was a creative director for a company. I mean, she's inspired many hairdressers around the world. She traveled around the world, a fantastic educator, and most importantly, just an all-around good person.
There you go. I second that. I'm very
Thank you,
aware of
Gerard.
Sandra. So anyway, welcome, Sandra. So,
Thank
all right,
you.
let's pass it around. Jerry.
Hi, I'm Jerry Wainwright. I've been a working salon owner at the Jersey Shore for the past 23 years. I have a great staff, and I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Fantastic. Welcome. All right. Who wants to be next? Come on. Jen.
Hi. It is a great honor to be here and talking to stylists. Very, I don't know. I'm excited to be here. And I have been a salon owner for 5 years, and I've done hair for 25 years. So I've educated many, many people, and I'm excited to get started today.
Okay. And Jen, where are you located? Remember, tell everybody where you are.
I am in Totowa, New Jersey.
Okay, another New Jersey.
Right,
There you go.
Jerseyans.
I know. So let's have one of the boys now. Come on.
Okay.
Sal, Tommy.
Come on,
Okay,
Tommy. Take your time.
All right. My name's Tommy O'Quinn, and I live in San Diego, California. I have 2 salons now here, one in La Jolla and one in Del Mar. And over the course of my lifetime, well, it seems like a lifetime, 42 years of doing hair. Like Sandra, whoa, can't believe it's been 42 years. It went like a flash, you know? So, but it's given me tremendous experience. It's given me tremendous reward. And it's actually created a big part of creating who I am as a person, there's no doubt. I've owned or managed 5, 6 salons now. And I had my own academy at one time. And I've worked for many manufacturers in different positions. So it's my pleasure to be here with this esteemed group. These guys are all great, and I'm looking forward to this conversation that's very important for us right now. So thank you.
Great. Well, welcome again, Tommy. So let's have Cheryl. We'll keep Sal till the end. Okay.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Baslisco. I am a salon owner, stylist of 38 plus years. So Sandra, I'm with you on that. And I have 19 stylists. I also am an educator for Z1 Concept, as well as I've been an educator for manufacturers throughout my entire career industry. So I'm just very passionate about the industry and like to help others. And that's pretty much me.
And remind everybody where you are.
I thought I said that.
Did you?
Brunswick, Ohio.
Did you say that? I must have missed that.
I thought I did.
Say it twice. That's fine. Okay, Cheryl. Thank you. And finally, Sal.
Well, after Tommy's, I don't know if I really want to go after that one, guys. I'm Sal Gianfrido. I've been doing hair. I'm a third-generation hairdresser. And so I've been doing hair now I got into business when I was 12. My mom forced me to shampoo. And then became a hairdresser in my early 20s. So it's been about this will be my 28th year. I've owned a shop now with my ex-wife. We're about 40 minutes outside of Philly in a town called Collegeville. And I've owned it on the 25th of April was our 14-year anniversary. We owned it twice married, 2 years married, and 12 years divorced. So that's saying much that we kept the business going after all these years. Wow. We have a staff of about 22, I think, or something like that, but who knows after all this. But yeah, it's been real nice.
Cool. Well, cool. Just before I hand it right back to Gerard to set the tone for the discussion, first of all, welcome everybody. And may I say, what a fantastic amount of experience staring right at us, Gerard. It's incredible.
Amen. Amen.
I'll throw my 2 bobs worth in as well. I'm on my 44th year in the industry as well. So we're on the club here together. So thank you so much for all your passion after all these years. So right, let's not waste any time. Time is very valuable. Gerard, so right over to you. Come on, let's go.
It is. I just want to reiterate something too. It's amazing to me because each and every one of you have touched my life in one way or another. We've either worked together, we've done business together. I have to say one thing about Tommy and Sal down there, because I had the pleasure of being able to travel globally with both of them doing work. And, the inspiration that they've given to the industry and the inspiration that they've given to me was, a life learning experience. And I think both of them are going to have a good insight on what we are talking about. So when we think about our whole industry and everything that each and every one of us have brought to the table, and what we've offered the industry, what we shared with them in inspiration and motivation was always my key words. Inspiration, motivation, that's what leads you to education, right, guys? So when we think about that and how it has affected our lives, Cheryl, you mentioned something just before when you were introducing yourself. And again, Sal, as well as you, when you mentioned about, being third generation, it's an emotional state of all of us, of the industry that we are in. The topic that we're going to talk about is essential or non-essential. We were ordered to shut down by our governors of different states at different times. Some of us voluntarily shut down. And then we started seeing a lot of attention being played to different avenues of businesses in the industry. And some of them were considered essential, some of them were considered non-essential, but it was never defined. And I want you all to think about something when I pass this over, is when the businesses were first starting to get shut down, all businesses in general, they weren't throwing the words essential and non-essential out there, but they were naming businesses. They never named in the beginning, they never used the word beauty salons, salon industry, because they didn't know how to classify us. All right. And that's my intake on that. When I really did a lot of investigation in the past 2 days, I noticed, and I watched reruns and everything, that they did not mention us. Never mind mentioning if we were essential or non-essential. So let's go right in that topic. I'm going to pass it right down to Tommy. I'd like to hear Tommy's input on that with all his years of experience. What is your input? Do you see us as an essential business? Do you see us as a non-essential business? All up to you, Tom.
Well, like in the very beginning of all this, I kind of agree that it was very important to shut everybody down. There's no doubt. because we had to get a handle on this crazy virus that's attacking all of us, and it's indiscriminate. It's attacking everyone. And I know in our salon, we have a very wide range of client. They go from kids all the way up to grannies, So that's a pretty broad spectrum of people who can be susceptible to a virus, So I agree with that part, okay. What I don't agree with is, as time went on, I think the definition of classifying us, the beauty industry, as non-essential changed. Because what do we do for people? What do we do for clients? We don't just do a haircut. We don't just do a color service. We are there for them through thick, thin, through weddings, through funerals, through every aspect of their life. And that's what we do, is we support people, right? And this, of all times, is a very important and time to get support. There are people out there who are struggling through this, and they're struggling financially, and they're struggling emotionally, and they're struggling with their own self-esteem. And guys, we are all been in this business for a long time. We all know why we got in this business, right? The first motivation was not money. The first motivation was people. And we are a people business. So at some point, to answer your question, Gerard, at some point during that process of the last, 6, 8 weeks, whatever, 6 weeks, seems like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
I think the non-essential designation that falls on us should fall off. And I feel pretty strong about that. And I actually wrote my governor a letter about that. And
They're all good to you.
haven't heard back from him yet.
Right.
Maybe I'm somewhere on the list. But I needed to be heard, and I needed to try to make them understand.
Good.
The other thing I thought about this, sorry, just not to go on.
No, go.
Please.
Let's throw this out there. So I started thinking about who's making all the rules, right? All the people in Washington, right? How many of those people are men?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe men don't rely on their visit to their hairdresser as much as women do, right? Because women get color, women get, their self-esteem is built greatly when they look good. When they look good, we look good, and everybody feels good. But men, especially the ones in Washington, they go to the barber in the basement, right? And he gets rid of the sideburns and he gets rid of the hair, and that's about it. And they just need to look clean, right? Mm-hmm. So the effect is different, So maybe those guys need to understand. So maybe more of those guys in Washington need letters. Maybe the senators, everybody needs a letter or an email or a comment to try to make them understand how essential we really are to our clients.
Tommy, I think that you're hitting another, or you're treading on another section that is very true to the fact. And that is, when we start to talk about basically who's making the decision, who sat down and had a committee of people, like intelligent people that are sitting here right now on this Zoom, and said, okay, here's the list of businesses. We're going to start voting on them. What are essential and non-essential? And I'm going to read something to you later on, but I want to pass it over to Sandra. I want to hear Sandra's point on that. Sandra is in the diehard of New York City, and she's seen a lot that's going on over there. Sandra, what's your kind of input or idea of how you view our business?
Well, how I view the business is, I think, for my opinion, I think we're definitely essential. On Tommy's point about having, only the women come to the salon, on the other hand, I have a lot of male clients. They do get color. They do get haircut every 3 weeks. They get groomed more particular than women because they have to be just so, right? So we're talking about the presenters, the TV broadcasters. They need to be fixed all the time. You look at Channel 7 News, Bill Ritter. I don't know if you guys see him.
Yeah.
His hair is always neat and cropped, and day by day is getting bushier and bushier by the day.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like getting bigger, isn't it?
Exactly. So every day we're watching the news, we're watching the people that are announcing the news, their hair is a mess. Their makeup is a mess. They don't have the essential people that fix them up like how they're supposed to be presented to the people of America.
Right.
So, my point also in the salon point of view, um, that we are our clients' therapists. We're not just their hairdresser.
Absolutely.
We are not just someone that cut their hair. I mean, sometimes they could go off months without doing the hair, but they want to see us. They want to talk to us. We know more about them than their husbands or their wives.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sometimes things that we're not supposed to know.
exactly. We are the confident.
Yeah.
And I think these people are going nuts, not seeing us for that reason.
Yeah.
So um, like Gerard is saying, who label us as essential? When they first shut us down, they never talked about shutting down the beauty salon. They
Right.
shut down the nail salon. They shut down the barber shop. But where do we really fit in? Like they never really talk about that.
And to your point, Sandra, you're right. To your point, when they were shutting this all down, I think all of us were confused. We didn't
Right.
know if we should shut down the business or not shut down the business because they were never addressing us. So that's a great point that you're bringing up.
It's good.
And
Excellent.
so, slowly and slowly, finally the salon had to shut down because all business has to shut down except a few, right? Which are, frontline workers, the liquor stores open. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people needed that alcohol, including me.
And me, and Sal, and and Sal.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I saw in the news yesterday, we are essential for sure because they didn't say that, but who volunteered to cut the frontline workers' hair outside with the mask on? I don't know if you guys saw that.
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in the news, and I was like, thank God people are like worried about themselves. They
Right.
want to fix themselves, and which is so important because they need to feel good about themselves.
Absolutely.
True.
Yep. There you
And
go.
I think, your point is when you look at all the businesses that possibly remained open, there's a big question mark there. I want to pass it over to Jerry. Jerry's on the other side. She's down in South Jersey area. So we heard from Sandra in Manhattan, New York. I'd like to get Jerry's input on that. So Jerry, how do you feel and what's going on down there in South Jersey?
Well, we're about an hour south of Manhattan. So I agree with Tommy in the regard that initially I thought that closing was, the way to go. For everybody's safety, for the safety of the general public. They asked us to not overburden the hospitals, to take a step back, and we did, and that was fair for maybe a month. And then, as far as being essential, I absolutely believe we're essential. I believe that we're essential to the mental health of our clientele. I believe that when people feel good about themselves, about the way they look, they feel good about themselves. Without that added to all the other stress, I do think it's going to take a toll on a lot of society. In as far as the way you feel, a perfect example even for myself. Typically, I go to Reformer Pilates every day. So my gym was shut down. I haven't been able to go. Is it optional? There is I can do it. I can work out and exercise at home, but I don't.
Right.
I don't, and that's on me, but it's almost like a state of mind, because it's not available to me. What I was doing was not available to me, so I don't do anything. And that's from somebody, I know, and I get it, but we've got people that literally on an average day, if you're talking about the normal people, they're going to feel bad about themselves. But the people that are truly needy, and all of us have experienced those clients that say like, oh, this one piece here isn't light enough, or you cut my hair a half inch shorter than last time and I wasn't able to go out for 2 weeks because I felt ugly. Those people that really need that constant reassurance, I think, are really going to be struggling because they're not going to be getting it.
Mhm.
from the one or two people that they might be isolated with, or they could be alone, which would even be worse.
Right, and I think your
Um,
point. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. I'm
no,
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I think your point is, and it's so true. We make people feel better, but not only physically by the looking at, because you know what, when you feel better, your mental state is a lot better. So we are definitely consulting, and not just on a beauty level
No.
with our guests, but on some of them are just having a bad day. I have to bring this up really, really quick. I think, Sal and I communicate on a daily basis, along with Tommy and Sandra and, Cheryl and some other people. And we all were talking about it. I mean, I remember one day, we've all been going through something. I remember Sal reaching out to me. He's like, and reaching out to the rest of us and saying, hey, I'm having a really bad day with this today. And I remembered yesterday, I told Sandra this morning when I spoke to Sandra, at one point yesterday, for the first time, I started really thinking about it, and it started affecting me. Or maybe I told you, Brian, I spoke to you about it. I was like, it's starting to hit me. And then I was like, okay, knock this off your shoulders. Just keep your positive attitude and look at the people that are surround you. And they went hairdressers. They're all hairdressers I've been talking to. I want to pass it over to Cheryl and get her little intake on this. Cheryl, where do you stand of us being essential or non-essential?
Well, I agree. Like Tommy started off, I agree with that too, that in the beginning, I think it was necessary. We all should shut down. Although here in Ohio, we had no notice. It was just boom. So when that happened, we didn't know where we fell. I don't know if each state was the same, but we didn't know if we were in essential or non-essential because they just shut us down. They did say for us, beauty salons, nail salons, barbers, they just shut us down across the board. But to this day, we still are unclear too what we are. And I really feel we are an essential. Not only like we do make people look good, like everybody, and we all agree that we make people look good, but it's really not about that. It's not about the money. It's about what we make them feel. And that's the most important thing. And as I'm booking and rebooking and canceling and rescheduling clients, I'm counseling them every day on my phone. Like that's why I was late to this a little bit, Brian, because I was talking to a customer about her
You're
feelings. And the thing is that even like for us, they just gave us our rulings, and we don't even qualify for the 12th, which was that we have May 1st, May 6th, and May 12th. They still have not classified where we're falling. And again, now the phone's blown up because these people are it's not that they're selfish. They need us. They need that extra feel good, that comfy, just if you're depressed and you're at home, whether you're going out to work or not, or whether you're working out of your home or not, and you're just locked down, if you're not feeling good about yourself, and we all know this, that's going to lead to more alcoholism, maybe suicide, maybe depression. And that's all I'm hearing is that we're going to have high rates of all that, high rates of all that at the end of this. But I feel that because they haven't placed us in a category, that they don't really understand us.
Amen.
I really think they don't.
Correct.
And I'm to a point where, like, I feel when this is all done, we need some form of movement because we keep hearing everybody has a choice and every business is different in the industry and this and that, but nobody's talking about us. And these panels that they're talking about and these business people, who are they? Like, they're not identifying, well, we're talking to these salons and these barbers and this and that. Nothing. We get a very vague little comment. I'm sure we all do in our states. You know what I mean? Of, no, you can't open yet because of this or whatever. So I'm all for us being an essential. And I think it's not for any other reason than to make people feel good in this situation, because that's what we do. I mean, great, we can make them look good. But I think it's more that, like you guys have all talked about, we know their personal lives, we know all that, but somebody's depressed and they're locked down, they want to look good. That's the only thing they have to hold on to right now in their four walls, is that, how they look and how they feel. And nobody can deliver that other than hairdressers. Doctors can't, dentists can't, we can't. And how do you make people understand that?
Well said.
I
I'm
know.
sorry, my opinion's very strong. I hope I'm
No,
not.
no, 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 no. Your opinion is
The whole point.
opinion is strong, and it comes
Yes.
from conviction, and I think it's good about that. You know, Brian and I talk about it all the time, right, Brian? I mean,
Yep.
who other than the hairdresser has the ability to cosmetically, temporarily change somebody, and still be able to touch them without surgical implements? Do you know what I mean? We don't do that.
Yeah.
Jen, let's hear from you. What's your stand on essential or non-essential?
Oh,
I have on my little paper here. Am I on now? It
You're
says
on.
yes, you're on.
Okay, it said I was muted. I feel like everyone's touched on everything I have on my little paper right here. I agree with everything everybody says. I mean, I've had a lot of my clients for the full 25 years that I've been doing hair, and their friendships. I've talked to almost all of them. They're all in my own contacts in my phone, and I'm trying to reach out and see if the older clients, if I could bring them anything. They're real close friendships, and I feel like people's mental states, and a lot of them are alone in their own house. They don't have kids, or they don't have a husband, and they're calling me, and it's a true friendship. And I feel like they want to look good and feel good, and depression is a huge thing, and you don't know what everybody's underlying things are, and sometimes you do know that, but I just feel like we are there for them in so many ways. And I feel like we are essential. When they first shut us down, I was sad. Like I wanted to cry that day. And I think almost everybody, their first thought was my hair, my nails, we were one of their top 10 thoughts. I feel like, that's everybody said everything. Good. I don't want to keep repeating the same exact stuff, but I agree. I agree that we're very important in people's lives.
It's from your voice, though, Jen. That's important. It doesn't matter if it's repeated. It gets the message strong.
It's true, Brian. Sometimes it could be a miscommunication of what somebody hears, and if they hear it in a different tone or a different way or a different approach, it makes it understandable. I want to talk about something else and kind of get everybody's insight on this, and then there's another topic I want to go around. So here's my thing. Well, you know what? I'm going to save that topic for the second time around. But here's one thing that I want to get everybody's input on. So now when the pandemic starts to dissolve and go away, hopefully forever, but there's words that this could possibly come back. Think about this for a moment. And we've all touched it in many ways, okay? We need to get our industry, what we talked about, Brian, in a last episode, the respect issue. There needs to be a lot more respect given from whoever, the lobbyists, our governors, our senators, our congressmen, all of them. You know what? I feel that, I'm not getting on to this whole media thing versus the political aspect of it, but I feel that the industry as a whole is $1 billion industry. And when they want to involve the taxes on that, then they look at our industry totally differently. But it's never recognized as what we actually do. We're not a bunch of gum-chewing bimbos that just tease hair. That's not what it's about. We are touching lives. We are communicating. We are consultants. Like Sandra said earlier when she brought it up, which I thought was a great point, and Tommy brought it up. We've been through these people through their marriages, their births, their divorces, their, reconciliations, through everything. We've advised them. We spoke about it. Sandra mentioned it earlier. Our guests confide in us. They've shared things with us. Think about this for a minute. When this is all said and done, what are our conversations going to be with our guests? Don't you think that we're going to hear a lot more of what they've been going through, the tragedies that have happened in their lives? They're going to need consoling, just like we console each and every one of us. And let's think about that for a minute. Where does that put us? If that doesn't put us into an essential situation, right? Talking people off the shelves. Tommy, your thoughts?
Well, hang on. Can I just interject? Sorry, Tom. Can we go to Sal, because we missed him on the last round?
Oh, we did. Sorry, Sal.
Okay, so it's all right, Sal. That's why I'm here. I'm keeping an eye on it. It's all right. It's all good. Sorry, Tommy. Thank you.
Okay, who keeps muting him?
Well, I'll concede my seat. Sal, why don't you take this because you didn't get on the list.
There you go. He's on it now. You're on. You're live,
Okay.
I
Sal.
apologize, Sal. My apologies.
That's okay. When this all went down, it came down in like a rocket. And literally, we were closed March 15th. And literally, that was it. That was done. That was our last day. They said, last day is that day for all businesses. It doesn't matter who they are, and except essentials. Now, what made essentials? I can go get my car fixed because that's essential. Best Buy was still open because people need to get, apparently, appliances and movies. And in PA, the liquor stores closed. And that was a crazy mess because they're trying to reopen them sort of with curbside now because I guess that's essential. But for everybody, they took everything away that was fun or entertaining. You couldn't go to the movies anymore, which is my favorite. You can't watch sports because they stopped them. There was no outlets. And for people, their outlet was to get their hair done. So, and to Tommy's point, yeah, that was right. In the beginning, okay, 2-week vacation, it was forced. We didn't have a choice. Politicians sit there, they're getting paid every day for nothing. For us, they decide that we're non-essentials, we got to go home. So 2 weeks went by, okay, then they made it a month. Okay, a month is okay. Why not? For the sake of everybody. But then it's 6 weeks now. In Pennsylvania, they're talking June. So right now, my clients were like, okay, we'll go a month. Well, now it's hitting them. It's 6 weeks. Now they're starting to freak out. They're like, where's my hairdresser? Like, literally, I can't let these roots grow anymore. What can I do? They're starting to realize now we are the essential. And that, to me, I hate that we have no control. I've been a businessman now for 14 years, and I've always been in control. You know what? We were light on the rent that month. We worked our butts off so we could get the money to do it. Now, we have no control on anything in our life. No control on when we're going to go back to work. No control on anything. And honestly, Georgia, I'm hoping, is showing people that maybe you can sort of open up certain areas. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I think that we're more essential, and there's got to be some kind of plan that the government can come together to have us get back to work, to do people's hair, to make them feel good. Because being cooped up in the house, here I know domestic violence is up in Pennsylvania because people are cooped up. They need an outlet. They need to talk about their problems to somebody within our chair. So that's what I had to say.
Cool. All right. Thanks, Sal.
Good points.
Now we'll go back to Tommy, if that's all right. Gerard, yeah?
Okay, that was a lot of great information Sal just gave. And I ditto pretty much all that, there's no doubt. I think it's just so necessary. And I just think we're so misunderstood. And I alluded to the guy sitting back in Washington. Well, it's all the people that are making the laws. The problem is that a lot of them don't understand what we do and what we do for people and how we affect people. But it's on us now that we know this, that we need to make them understand. And that's what I wanted to do in this particular Zoom, is to bring that out, to get more people proactive more hairstylists proactive about writing, about emailing the senators, the House representatives, the mayor. All these people have to understand, they have to be made to understand how important our job is and how important we are to society, to people, and to their well-being,
Yeah, excellent.
I think, Tommy, you are 100% hitting the nail on the head when it comes to being proactive. And I think, if anything, what this pandemic has done to all of us by doing these Zoom roundtable discussions, by seeing what's going on in the news, by taking part of other webinars that are out there, are kind of, listen, everybody, and this is to every stylist that is out there and that's possibly watching this, with all due respect, educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself. But not only educate, take that education and take that power and that force that you feel within and start doing something to respect our industry and to get the respect that we need. Listen, there's no doubt about it that I feel that we are an essential business, and I agree with Sal, and I agree with Tommy and everybody else that was saying that we did have to go through what we needed to go through because there was a pandemic that was traveling around, and they needed to find the cause of it and get it under control. But the idea of where our industry stands is the big question. You know, who is making that decision? And how do we get the lobbyists and everybody else to fight for us? And Tommy, kudos to you. Without a doubt, write your congressman, write your governor, write your senator. For God's sakes, write the White House if you have to. Whatever you have to do, but let's stick together as an industry. Cheryl.
Yeah.
Well, on that point, Gerard, can I add one more thing?
Yeah. Sure.
So it's not just our responsibility to do it, but maybe they'll listen more to the clients. Maybe they'll listen more to the people who are directly in their lives, you know? So I think that, you know, we have to educate our clients on this whole thing that's happened to us, you know? Most of them know. I mean, my clients have been with us for like 25 years in this salon, you know? I have people that have been doing the hair forever. And they know and they care about what we're going through. They know that we haven't got relief from, you know, loans and this sort of stuff. And they want to help. And they've been bombarding us with texts and phone calls. How are you guys doing? You know, and that's when we get to chat with them. But I think if we can enlist their help on educating the people that are out there, like the decision makers, then that would go a long way, because probably many of our clients know or are related to a person that's in office, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think that's real important too, to enlist the client's help on this whole situation.
I think that's a brilliant, you know, great kind of way to channel it, Tommy, because the people have voices, and sometimes we get very comfortable, we sit back, don't we, and we don't go forward. If we really want to, you have to be the change that you want to see, don't you? And we can't always just expect others to do it. We need to enforce it collectively. And I hope from what comes out of this Zoom that message goes out there. That's tremendous. Okay, where do you want to go? Should we go to Sandra maybe?
Cheryl back in.
Oh, Cheryl? Okay, let's go to Cheryl and then we'll go over to Sandra.
Okay, so, God, there's so much I want to say. Gerard, to what you said, where do we go from here when we do reopen and stuff like that? The emotional side of the clients is what we're going to be dealing with. I mean, reality, we're going to be dealing with how they felt quarantined. We're going to be dealing with the deaths, the losses, the funerals they couldn't attend, the weddings they couldn't go to, all those important things. I mean, it's going to be like a 71 pile up on us of emotions that they're going to be letting out all at one time, because that stuff is existing right now because nobody can attend anything that was very important to them. So somehow or another, we know we're going to be dealing all that. How we make people understand who we are in the industry is, I don't know. Tommy, when you were talking, I just had a light bulb go off. I know, right, we've been up in the government there for the TIP enactment law forever. They don't pay attention to who we are. And this is our time where we need to be heard. And I think what you're saying involve people, our clients. Maybe we start something to where we have every client that comes in that feels that way, they just sign their name on a piece of paper. And if we have salons doing that across America and they get all sent into them, maybe they will start paying attention that we are an essential. Because if this comes back around, question, are they going to do the same thing to us? Do you know what I mean? Are they going to shut us down, or are they going to let us stay open? So I think the more voices, and that was just an idea that just came right when you were speaking, that maybe we can get, everything's better in numbers. And if we can get something like that started, then maybe we can make that movement for if it does come out. It worries me when they sit there and they talk about it coming back around, because clients are getting scared about that and they just want their hair done now. So that's like, why pre-panic people? Let's just get the doors open and see where it goes. But what can we do in the meantime other than make them feel good? Because we're going to be dealing with all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I think it's something to think about. Your point to, and Tommy's point to get our guests involved. maybe it is time to draft up a petition and send that out,
Just what I was thinking.
worldwide. Get a petition going. Listen, I saw other petitions where everybody were rushing to get open, which they didn't even know the facts before they wanted to open. A lot of independence. But you know what? You have to respect the industry individually first.
Yeah.
Us as a community of stylists have to respect ourselves and our businesses and our industry. And then, of course, gather our armies together. And our guests are our armies. And maybe we do that. Maybe we do get a petition. I know that PBA is always fighting for us in different avenues and different venues. And we get that going, and then they lobby it and they bring that to Washington. Sandra, your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I think we definitely need to get the word out there, to let people know how important we are in this world, not just in the industry, in this world. But the thing is, on the other thought, people are worried about the salons, or even myself, I was worried because we are so close to people. Like, we cannot have social distancing, and that's what the state law requires for people to open their business. A restaurant can do that, right? You go on the plane, they could do that. You go to a bar, they could do that. They take down 25% of the business to give them the proper social distancing that the government required. But how could we do our job? There's no way we could do our job with social distancing. I mean, a nail technician can do their job. Even a facialist cannot do that. I mean, we are so close to our clients, but we need to show the world.
Sandra, let me go back 1 minute, because you mentioned that a nail technician can. To me, a nail technician is still close in proximity.
Still.
Right. And I do agree with you about the, it is going to be difficult. And the way we conduct business after this has to change in one way or form. There's still, there's different things that everybody's talking about. Wear a mask, wear the gloves, wear the shield, do this.
Mhm.
But to Sandra's point, we are still on top of that guest. We have to apply the color to their regrowth area. We have to blow dry their hair. It's very difficult to do that from a distance. And I know that there's some funny little things going around that people are tying as a joke, blow dryers attached to broomsticks and brushes, and it's a joke. So to your point, yes, but then how do we provide the protection to the stylist if we're going to fight that we're an essential business?
We need to open up properly and
Right.
show them
Right.
that we can do this, and we could do it right. There's no one that could tell us what to do, but we need to figure it out, because no one can figure out that business for us unless
Right.
you're a hairdresser.
Exactly. And we know the dynamics of that, Sandra. That's a great point. And I commended you that, and I take those words very, very seriously. We have to show them. Nobody other than a hairdresser is going to be able to do that. There are people that are coming up with all these ideas. They're building partitions, and they want to sell you a partition or put a screen or do this. Or, yes, I agree with the not double booking anymore, because it was doing an injustice before, and even more so now. But now, let's listen to what Sandra's saying out there. We have to come up with a solution, and we have to show them the way to do that. Great point, Sandra.
Yeah, excellent. Okay,
Jerry,
Jerry,
your thoughts on
let's get up to Jerry.
Well, I agree. I believe there are strength in numbers. I think that moving forward, some kind of organizing a political action committee within the community of hairdressers could be something that could be effective. I think that getting back to the idea of who determines who is an essential business, the people, and this is systemic across our entire political system. So the people that make the decisions for everyone else typically do not have to do without anything. So they're not, the politicians that are saying they're not essential, they're still getting their hair cut by whoever is
Someone.
cutting their hair.
Some of them.
Someone's doing it. You know what I mean? They're not doing without. Their wives aren't doing without. The female politicians, they're you're not seeing them get up on television with Roots. Nobody. So if it's very difficult to allow people to make decisions for you when they're not in your boat. And like I said, I believe that's a systemic thing with our government at this point. How can people make decisions for others when they don't have to suffer the ramifications of their choices? And that, the only way we can make something affect any kind of change, effective change, would be to mobilize as a unit instead of it being individuals. And, you can say, like, let's get clients involved, let's get this person involved. That isn't going to hold the same weight as everybody actually taking part and becoming a community. I think that because we tend to be artists, we're perceived as being flighty or not serious and not to be taken seriously. The whole, oh, she's just a hairdresser, he's just that. Well, I know, but we've all heard it. And the only people that can change that is us.
Well, and
collectively us, not one or two of us. It's not enough to say, oh, my hairdresser's smart. We're all smart.
But to that point, Jerry, and that's exactly what I was saying before, we need to get our armies together, but we as a community need to respect our own industry and need to realize, do we feel that we are essential or we're not essential? And that's in every way, shape, and form. If we want to be recognized as essential in that aspect. I was reading an article, I was looking up just now on my phone, I was reading an article and they were saying that during the Great Depression, the beauty industry was an essential business. What changed? What changed from back then? If they were able to identify us then as an essential business, what changed now where nobody knows if we are essential or we're not essential? And I think to Jerry's point, we changed. We didn't take things seriously. We started double booking and triple booking and squeezing people in and just going through the motions. You know what I mean? Everybody wanted to have a salon and everybody opened a salon, but it was that, look good, feel good type of a thing.
Yeah. And it almost it almost became flighty within itself, the industry, which, we almost created that for ourselves, Jerry. So you brought up a great point. Gerard, can I bring in Jen and then we'll switch into the, like the last round. Is that cool?
And Sal, I'm going to hear from Sal too.
Okay. Jen. Oh.
I need just 1 second. Go to Sal. I'll be right back. I need 1 second.
Okay. Sal, you're on.
Okay, so I have this from a different point of view. I grew up in this business. My grandfather, when he came to from Italy on the boat, he learned how to cut hair, and he was cutting people's hair on the boat so he could get a better line in the food line. And he started his trade in Philly, and he was known as Sam the Barber, and he was the man. He did stockbrokers and lawyers, and everybody knew who he was. And my uncle became a hairdresser. His kids became hairdressers. My mom was a hairdresser. I became a hairdresser. I had lots of cousins, nieces, aunts, you name it, have been hairdressers. And when I was a young kid, I remember my mom worked her butt off, but she was respected. She was a hairdresser. And then somehow we started saying that colleges was better than to go into the trade schools. And when that happened, that's when a change happened with our business, that all of a sudden going to a trade, no matter what it was, car mechanic or hairdresser or whatever it was not important. And now what I've found in our industry is big companies have come in and they've watered us down. Before, you went to the hair salon or day spa and you went there to get all your services done in one spot. Where I am, I'm in a big shopping center. There's a massage envy behind me. There's a wax place. They're doing a lash place. They took all of our business away, and it started to beat us down as who we were. And I really believe that when maybe through all this, trade will remember that we are important in the world that we need to be in. And, mechanics can make six figures. Hairdressers can make six figures. Hairdressers can make as much money. I always say to any one of my young staff, I said, look, there's no ceiling or wall ceiling to where you can make your money. You can make as much money as you want or as little money as you want, depending on how hard you work at it. And you can't go into the business world and say, I'm going to make this much money. No, because you're bound by whoever's going to be there. But in our industry, there's no ceiling. And I believe that until we get together as a group, as a unit, and figure this out, heck, in Pennsylvania, you don't even have to take the practical anymore. You take your light, there's 1250 hours or 6.
I remember you telling me that, Sal. That kind of blew my mind when you were telling me.
1250 hours, and they did this about 5 or 6 years ago. They took away the practical. So you literally, at 900 hours, you can go and take your written test, and you can literally go in and work in a salon before you actually have your license, because that becomes your license at 900 hours. It's ridiculous. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. And Jen, are you okay? You can come back in.
I'm back. I'm sorry, my internet was unstable, it said. I had to go check it.
No worries.
Are we still doing the essential, non-essential?
Yeah, so
What's the other?
pulling you back in, Jen, that's what we're talking about now. Like, Jerry brought up some really, really good points. Tommy started off by saying about getting people involved. Sandra agreed with that. We talked about, pulling in and possibly putting a petition together and having guests sign it. We need
Yes.
we need an army behind us. Jerry's point to all that was, yeah, well, that's great and dandy, but let's be realistic. It starts within our industry first.
Absolutely.
We have to gain everybody to follow suit with that. And as a community, and I like how Jerry used that word community, because we are a community. We're an industry, yes, but we're a community of people, some close and far. So just your whole insight on all that.
Well, I feel like we should get together as a group. The client signing a petition or something. I mean, everyone's asking me, what can I do? What can I do? I mean, I definitely think everybody would be on board with that. But everyone's from such different areas. I know, Jersey, getting a group of people together might be a little tougher. That's just my personal opinion. But, I love the idea of that.
But you know what, to your point, Jen, because Jen has called me on many occasions off the cuff, and she had said, hey, and we talked about it, right, Jen? Brian and I talked about, and then it goes back to say, hey, we're all talking about it, but let's get it moving here. But Jen and I talked several times about putting a group of salon owners together and just communicating with each other, talking to each other off the ledge, talking about how we could better the industry, things like that. Brian, you and I talked about our talk show that we're working on right now, which will be coming soon, everybody.
So watch the space.
So watch the space. But here's my thing. Do we all remember, no matter how young or old we are as hairdressers, there were affiliates. And each county or each area had a hairdresser's affiliate. They don't exist anymore. I remember when I was first starting out, you were able to join the Bergen County affiliate or the Essex County affiliate or the New York City, Manhattan affiliate. There were all these affiliates, and basically uniformity, they were able to provide information to the industry. So we don't necessarily have that avenue anymore. Yes, we have the PBA, which is doing a great job, and we need to get more people involved with the PBA. I know one of our educators, Tara Corona, just was telling me about, hey, you should get involved with being an advocate for the PBA, and kind of like set the path for me. And we thought about it, we're talking about it. But to Jerry's point and Tommy's point and Sandra's point and Sal's point in getting that all together, it stems from what you just said, Jen. We are in different areas. If we don't start within our local areas in order to get that united together, how is it ever going to lash on?
Yeah.
How is it ever? I mean, listen, Brian, right? Let's say you and I are very active in the community and what we do. Brian, you could start a petition. You and I could talk about it. You could start it up right now. Then how do you get that petition over to Sandra to get it over to New York, and Tommy in California, and Cheryl in Ohio? Do you know what I mean? It's got to be, there has to be a hub that it all stems from.
Sure.
But
You
you've
have to
got to
start
build up to it. Do you know what I mean? If you built from top down, not going to last, right? But if you build a strong foundation first and we build it up, I think that's something.
And I think that's a great message that's coming out of this round table. There's no doubt in my mind that we all feel that same way. What it takes is action, and somebody has to start it. And remember that oak trees grow from acorns. So,
Right.
you know, it has to start small, and it'll explode, because surely the rest of the country in our industry is feeling the same way as we're all speaking right now. And, you know, when this goes out to them, I'm sure this is going to have a lot of feedback.
So,
But,
Brian, here's what I want to do, because I know we're running out of time.
yeah.
And I want to do this, and I want to ask everybody real quickly, by a show of hands, all right, raise your hand if you agree, who feels we're essential? All right, so that's where it stands right there. So now, and I want to just pass it right around, and then we'll close it out. I want to pass it to everybody. A suggestion or an idea, or possibly the beginning thought on how can we start getting like minds alike? How do we start letting people know, or getting that vote in, especially so that we can take it to Congress? How do we start getting our industry identified as essential? Just maybe one comment real quick. We can go around. Let's start with Jerry. We'll start up top there.
Okay.
I kind of think it starts right here. I mean, I think it starts with a small group of people, and you work within your sphere of influence, and you branch out to the salon owners around you. Certainly distributors and things would have a wider breadth than some of us. We might be more, have more of a circle of influence in our own county or state or, whatever. But it's, you start honestly like any other movement with one voice or in this case, 8 voices.
Right. So like to your point, you would start in your own area, pull other salons in.
Right.
Reach out to other salon owners. But I think that we got to focus on this too, everybody, if everybody's in agreement. I just think that it's not just focusing on other salon owners. It's focusing on other industry people, other people in our industry, other stylists. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and if I just pick up, because I'm a great one for little phrases, and Jerry said a brilliant phrase there, in your sphere of influence. Love that. So that, to me, that's a really key little phrase. So thank you. All right, who's next?
Sandra.
Sandra.
Oh, gonna mute her out.
Oh.
You're on mute.
There you go. That's it. Start again.
Up. Now, wait a minute, Sandra.
Hey,
Hey.
you?
She's still on mute.
No, she's still mute.
All right, wait.
I'm good now.
No, there you are. There you are. She's
Okay.
good. She's good.
So I would say, sphere of influence is the main thing. I do real estate also, other than just hair, that's something else. But your sphere of influence is your major part of your business, right? Mm-hmm. So you work within your salons, like someone said, you can't just go to like different salon owners. You have to be being passionate. As a hairdresser, we all feel the same, and I think all hairdressers feel the same, but because we are more experienced in the business, I guess, because we will let our voices heard. But a lot of hairdressers are very shy. Mm-hmm. I thought about myself as being a young hairdresser before. I only know how to talk to my clients, but I can't go out of my salon and be dynamic and talk and have my voice heard. So I think to wind up your circle, like we all have hairdresser friends, and they all feel the same, we should get the brains together. We should get the heads together, and I don't know, sign a petition. I don't know how it's. I mean, we have to get the foundation set, like Gerard said. You have to get these people's names and stylists together that are passionate about the business to agree, and I'm sure they all agree, unless I'm wrong, that this is an essential business and we need to be recognized as that. And in the future, if something else arises, we have a place in this world as recognizing that is a really important business um, here, for everyone.
Bravo.
Good.
Bravo.
Good.
Awesome.
Go right over to Sal.
So,
Okay, as Sandra was talking, I started getting some ideas. Now, do the clients think that change is going to come? If you think about this, so this is the first time ever that you weren't able to get your hair done for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2.5 months. First time ever. So does it start with the clients actually thinking that maybe we are more important than they ever gave us credit for? Maybe that's where the change starts to happen, because all of a sudden, they say, Georgia, the phone's ringing off the hook of the salons that were open. Is that where the change starts, with people's perception of who we are? And maybe after 2 months, 2.5 months, they're going to realize that we were way more important to them than they give credit to us for.
cool. Good point, Sal. Love that. Tommy,
Yeah.
you're right there.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready.
He's so ready. I was watching him. I could tell he was like ready.
Yeah, I agree with Sal. And I'm telling you what, it all starts in a simple way. It just takes the one voice, and it just takes the one conversation that can affect so much and cause such a great effect, okay? And we have that. We have it built in, right? The people that sit in our chairs, all we need to do is share that with them. And I think to Sal's point, he's definitely hit it right on. I think clients will now realize how much we really do for them. And I think it's becoming so much more important. But if we have to initiate the conversation. We have to say to that person in our chair, hey, if you feel that way, then can you speak to whoever may be in your sphere of influence? It's all about the sphere of influence for each one of us, for each stylist, each client's friend, each client's husband, each client's wife, and it'll grow from there, and it'll fester from there. But I think the first thing that we can do without a whole lot of effort is, as soon as those guys get in our chair, we need to start telling them, ask them if they agree. Do you feel like we are important to you? And if you do, then can you share that? That's how it starts. That's how social media starts, right?
So you know what, Tommy, to that point, really quick, which is a great point, then all of us are planning to reopen our business, correct? We all want our business to reopen, without a doubt. We have the avenue now because we need to meet with our staffs. We need to discuss this with our staffs. It's not just each and every one of you. Listen, when Brian and I started inviting everybody to come on this panel, everybody was willing to discuss it, right? So there was one little ignite. Now we have to take that and we have to inform all these salon owners. If you want to start with salon owners, let's start with salon owners. All the salon owners or all the independents. You're going to meet with your staff on sanitation purposes, what they're going to have to wear. They're going to have to wear masks. They're going to have to do this. They're going to have to do that. Implement the conversation of essential or non-essential. And then to Tommy's point, let's follow through now and get our staff to stop talking about the newest movie that came out there, but ask our clients, hey, where do you view us?
Cool.
Get the guests involved too.
Good point, Gerard.
Jen.
Okay.
One word of advice that you can give us to get the ball rolling.
All right. So a couple weeks ago, I got this thing on my Instagram that said, or Facebook, someone sent it to me, sign the petition. So I clicked it and it was for North Carolina, and it was for salons to be able to have a soft opening. But this was like a couple weeks ago. So I put it on my Facebook, and not realizing it was South Carolina, I thought it was Jersey because I didn't read it fully. But I put it on all my stuff. I got so many likes from it. People shared it from there, shared it from there. It came back to me, I think a couple weeks ago. I saw it again, and there was like 1,000,000-something signatures on this thing. So that's a good way to get it out. I mean, just everybody share it on your Facebook and your, social media platforms. I thought that was fantastic. I mean, it was North Carolina,
Mhm.
but granted, I mean, if everybody did something like that, I mean, we have 3 states right here right now.
Mhm.
I could
Four.
send it to you. You could see it.
Yeah, it's another avenue, of course.
Sandra.
No, it's 4 states actually.
Right.
Four.
Yeah.
4 states.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, these are all
is
great
huge.
ideas for us to put in. Cheryl, your thought on it?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I got too many. So
Pick
first,
the top one. Pick the top one. 'Cause
First,
we're running
I
out
agree
of
with
time.
everybody. First, I agree with everybody. I think it needs to start from a group of leaders, one. I think it needs to filter through our customers, two, through our staffs, preparing them when we're talking about, openings and sanitization, all that. Yes, to bring up that's the main subject. To have clients express, yes, the way they feel. I feel that's all great. But I want to back up a little bit because Sandra, you made a comment that you think that maybe everybody would agree on this. I'm going to tell you that we all agree that we're essentials, but I'm going to tell you there are hairstylists out there, none of my staff, that don't agree that don't even want to open. So how I know this is I was interviewed last week by one of our local TV channels, real quick, short, and it was 2 different interviews. It was a Facebook Live. It was an actual channel, one of the news channels. And of course, I'm talking for our industry, pretty much on this topic to us be recognized after they shut us down. And the news only plays portions of it. I wish they would have played the whole thing because I was trying to get a point across for our industry to be addressed. The feedback, first of all, they said they never got so many response from a Facebook Live thing. I started reading them. I could not believe how many of them were hairdressers that were kind of dogging what I said, which I don't care. I don't know them because I'm passionate about the industry. Just not wanting to open. And I'm like, I wish I could just say to them all, you may not feel the same way, but like, I know I have a staff of 19 that we are all ready to go. So I think in this movement, because I think it's just not from Ohio. I think that feeling is everywhere. We're gonna have both. Some people that want to open, some people that don't. But I think it needs to be, the word choice needs to be brought up. That this is a choice. If you want to go this way, then support it. If you don't, that's fine. Because I could not believe the comments from the hairstylist.
But Cheryl, let me interrupt you for 1 minute. I think that you have to realize though too, there's a lot of fear out there. And I share this, and you know that I share this with the network. What the true definition is fear is not knowing what the outcome is going to be. It's the unknown. If everybody knew what the unknown was, they would be fearless. So there's still going to be a lot of fear there. Sal and I have had many conversations about this, everybody's talking about, oh, we're going to be bombarded. We're going to be so busy. Everything is going to be crazy. Reality, you need to set in. You're not going to be as bombarded as you think because, number one, you have to social distance everybody. You have to space these appointments apart. And number two, there's going to be a lot of fear out there. So we have to take that into consideration. And I've always strongly believed this. We all have to agree to disagree. People don't have to agree with it. But there has to be something set. So, there's a lot of things that come into play. And I think that we all have to be aware of what the next step is, because let me tell you something. They never really talked about our industry as to mention salons when they were closing. Yeah, you heard about a barbershop here or there. They mentioned gyms. They mentioned movie theaters. They mentioned retail. They talked about all that. But they never, and that's why a lot of salons were confused if they were going to stay open or close. Acknowledge us. That's all I'm saying. Acknowledge us and let all of us acknowledge our situations.
Well said, Gerard. And Cheryl, thank you to that point.
Yes.
Wow. And I know for a fact we could probably keep going for another hour.
Yeah.
Absolutely sure. I believe this was always going to be an emotive subject. And what an amazing panel. Thank you so much for all your tremendous input. I know that this is going to be very, very valuable, which is the whole point of this exercise. With Gerard and myself, we've always believed that, you know, strong voices will create change, will create movement. And we know that many, many people will pick up on this one, and we'll really promote this particular Zoom because it's got so much value. I know you'll agree with that, Gerard. So, I mean, wow, we always kind of like to end it with a little cheer. So if you all unmute yourself, please, that would
One
be
thing
really
before
good.
that, though, I want to, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
just personally thank you to each and every one of you. I think that of all of our Zooms, I saw a real strong passion here. Great advice. There were probably times within the Zoom by talking about essential or non-essential that we agreed or disagreed about something. But I know that there are certain things that Jerry said and Sandra said, Tommy said, Sal, Jen, and you, Cheryl, each one of you had said something that made a little light bulb go off in my own head to think about, you know. One really strong one when Sandra talked about, hey, we have to decide how we're going to approach this. What is our social distancing? You know, what are the guidelines that we can set? So I think that to everybody out there, you know, I hope that you wholeheartedly feel the same thing that each and every one of these passionate industry icons that were on this panel shared with you. And, you know, with everybody's agreements, I would love for all of us, because we are going to keep continuing these Zooms long after this COVID-19 is done with, and continue this, because I think that this is one avenue that we can reach out. And thank you to each and every one of you for taking time to sit and talk about this. Hey, we could all be power washing our own houses at this point, right, Sal?
Cool.
So with that,
thanks,
you know, Brian, I think this was a great panel, and I do agree with Brian. Lead us on in that applause, Brian.
Yeah, okay. So, well, first of all, on behalf of Gerard, myself, Z1 Concept, I want to thank each of you individually. So Jerry, Sandra, Jen, Cheryl, Sal, and Tommy, once again, it was an absolute joy to have all of you with us. And the best way we can send ourselves off, and then we'll close the recording, is let's give ourselves a cheer. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. We did a great job today. So thank you so much. Thank you. Woo. All right, so listen, all of you out there, when you've digested this one, get ready, because episode 10 will be following this right up. So once again, on behalf of myself, Brian Grieve, and Gerard Caruso and Z1 Concept, thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.